hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together, we are stronger.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Ah! Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad!
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports.
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
Where every
touchdown Auburn! Zakoby McClain!
Game.
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight! Holy cow!
Lives. Strap in. It's time for the Extra Point. Auburn's best sports talk radio show, Auburn's only sports talk TV show.
He better count basketball wins.
Yeah. Your 3-time nationally nominated sports show.
Oh, yeah. And they signed Cody Parkey. SEC champion, Cody Parkey.
I picked Pitt, and I was right. Your 3-time nationally nominated sports show, the guys give you the latest.
Penn State by a million.
Thank you.
John Gruden cried after he traded Khalil Mack, and now he's dancing in the locker room, saying he wished he had a disco.
Call in at 334-844-9345 to join the debate. My boy got it on lock.
I thought you were saying 1,800 yards in this game. I was like, Jared!
The X's and O's begin now. on Eagle Eye TV and WEGO Radio. The Extra Point, presented by WEGO Sports, where every game lives. And welcome into this depressing Tuesday. Depressing because we now go how many months without college football? A lot.
I figured you'd be celebrating.
Don't worry. The celebration's coming, guys. Don't worry about that.
So it's depressing for the rest of us.
Yes.
It's bittersweet.
Bittersweet, depressing, however you want to put it. But either way, thank you for joining us on the Extra Point here on WEGO 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. 7 a.m., usually a lot earlier than usual, going back to the old time slot for this semester. But I'm glad that you guys could join us either on your drive in or on social media as well. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well. As we get into the show, remember, you can call in at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345 to talk about anything in sports or ask a question in the live stream on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and we'll answer your question live on the show. Obviously, the national championship was last night, and we're going to break that down for the first 30 minutes of this show, and then we get into the Houston Astros and everything that happened with them yesterday. And that'll pretty much be your first hour, but let's go ahead and get right into it. First up, Carter Bird. Carter, late night?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before the show started. That game took forever. I mean, it took 30 minutes to go from 6:30 to 3 minutes left in the second quarter. I mean, it just felt like the clock was moving in slow motion.
It was, I didn't feel like it was very long, but I was doing things in between, so it kind of flew by for me, to be quite honest. Jacob, what about you? How was last night?
I'm with Carter. That game took way too long, but I was very happy that I actually got on my phone during the commercial break that Fansville, that all got revealed, so I didn't have to sit through that.
I missed it.
Can we talk about the most underwhelming?
It was awful.
They've been basically prepping this whole thing for 3 months, and I missed the first half of the commercial because I was getting a water, and then when I came back in, I saw the second half. I was like, "Are we serious?" Like,
I saw something about
this is what we've built to this whole season.
Was Bosworth in it? I saw something about Bosworth being a sheriff in Fansville. Maybe it was a joke.
Well, Bosworth has been a sheriff in Fansville the entire year.
Sorry, I don't pay attention to the commercials. They're bad.
They are.
Wait, so what did happen?
Basically, Big Fan is just a large man dressed as one of those Georgia fans with the shoulder pads. And then the coach hit him with a chest pass because it's more accurate.
It's the doctor.
And then
Eddie George.
Yes, and then Big Fan died.
I'm not sure I followed.
We're gonna bring him back next year, like the Bud Knight.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking it up.
Hey, Super Bowl commercial soon. We'll be breaking that down on the show.
But I mean, after Les Miles and the championship trophy getting stolen last year, very underwhelming.
It's your reminder that Les Miles did star in a movie. Jack, how are you?
Doing great, Jared. So glad to be here.
Very sarcastic.
Am I? Yeah, like everyone's been saying, the game did take a long time. I didn't get in bed until much later than I wanted to as a result of it. So I'm paying the price this morning, but nowhere I'd rather be than right here.
If it's going to take that long, they need to start it at least an hour earlier.
What time would that be on the West Coast?
Like 4?
Yeah.
4:30. I think that's the issue.
There. Yeah.
That's why they wouldn't do
Especially when
it started at
7:30, 40-ish.
15, 7:20 our time.
I mean, especially since, eventually the national championship is going to make its way back to Santa Clara. And then you're going to have a game that start at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock over there.
I don't know.
Why do we keep having the game all the way out there if both teams are from the Southeast?
I don't think
every single year.
I don't think it'll be back in Santa Clara, but it'll probably be like the new LA Stadium and the Las Vegas Stadium.
Or the Rose Bowl even.
It'll be in the Vegas Stadium for sure because it looks like the Death Star.
And that's where Auburn and their Stormtrooper Whites finally go and get a national championship.
Oh.
I'm just saying. Hey, if you didn't see the college football odds that came out right after the championship, Auburn is tied 7th at 22-1 odds with Oklahoma.
I thought we were tied with.
I think there's different odds out.
I saw different odds.
I saw
and
30
we were
to
tied
1.
with Texas A&M, and I was like,
"Oh no,
I don't want that because I don't believe in Kellen Mond and his ability to win a national championship at all."
This poll is one that I found on ESPN. It's one they had on their front page.
By the way, I realized like last week that Kellen Mond was not a senior this year.
Is he not?
Yeah, I was like, he's coming back.
Yeah.
He's going to turn into JT Barrett soon.
Pretty much.
But once again, if you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345. Or if you're watching on the live stream, you can ask a question on Periscope or Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. It'll come through and we'll answer it live on the show as we discuss the national championship. Quick update, the final AP poll, Auburn finishes 14th.
Sounds about right.
Just want you guys to know that. Where did Minnesota end up? And Minnesota ended up 10th in our spot. Or we were 9th, so 10th. Yeah. So there you go. Let's go ahead and talk about the national championship. LSU, Clemson. Let's just get initial thoughts about the game. It was close. That, third quarter, Clemson goes down, scores. After that, I don't know what happened with that Clemson offense, but it shut down.
Trevor Lawrence, he couldn't complete a pass in the second half. It was weird. He was under a little bit of pressure, and all of a sudden he just was inaccurate. And when he would put a ball on a receiver, the receiver's having to make a circus catch and couldn't catch it.
What was it? Trevor Lawrence ended up with 11 overthrown passes, I believe.
It was 13 at one point.
It was
at
13
the very end of the game, and then, some of them weren't close.
No, there was when the receiver got crushed, that should have been an interception. The defender should have not have hit the receiver. I think he should have gone for the interception. He probably would have picked it off. So he probably should have thrown 1 or 2 interceptions. Honestly,
Trevor Lawrence 18 for 37, 234 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, QBR of 38.1. Yeah, he did have 10 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown. So his legs played somewhat of a factor, but after that first touchdown in the third quarter, Clemson just could not get it going. And, credit to their defense. They held LSU to 14 points in the second half, but it's still kind of hard to win when you can't score.
It kind of didn't matter when they have 28 already, and they're up 28-17.
Yeah.
That end of the first half was absolutely backbreaking for Clemson. They had to everything that could have gone wrong.
The 21-point second quarter.
Yeah,
that's
that whole thing. Really, it was very hard for Clemson to begin to come back from that, and they just really couldn't get enough head of steam going to even begin to chip away at it. LSU finished the game 35-8 on a 35-8 run, and it looked like Clemson had something going for a second when they made that 2-point conversion, cut it to 3, but that was really the last gas left in their tank, and it didn't go anywhere from there for the offense. The defense played great. Looking at, after what happened to Oklahoma, you'd think holding this LSU team to 35 points in the second half of the game is a pretty makes the game pretty winnable, especially when you have a prolific offense like Clemson does with the talent they have at both running back and wide receiver. But it just wasn't enough. They just couldn't get any momentum started. And I credit to the LSU defense, who a lot of people had questions about coming into the game, for shutting down Clemson offensively. Looking at Delpit on those blitzes, I think that was a huge factor.
Yeah, give credit to the very difficult two-headed attack that LSU had in the receiving corps. Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions, 106 yards. But Jamar Chase, my goodness, 9 receptions, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. Should have been 3.
And Moss, too.
And Moss, that's right.
He had 2 touchdowns going into the game all year, and he got 2 last night.
And Joe Burrow. Well, let me go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire first. 16 carries, 110 yards, no touchdowns. But Joe Burrow, he had 14 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown, while also throwing for 31 for 49, 463 yards, 5 touchdowns for the Heisman Trophy winner. And LSU will go on to beat Clemson 42-25.
Clemson had them or had Joe Burrow under pressure the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
and he still made things happen. Like, how many sacks do y'all think Clemson got in the game?
I know at one point it was 4, so I'm going to say they ended up with 6.
I was going to say 4.
It was 5.
Yeah.
5.
I mean, that LSU offensive line, as great as they've been, and they won the
Joe
Moore Award for best offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They give up 34 sacks to Burrow this season. I mean, that's a heck of a lot more than what Clemson's O-line has given up to their opponents.
Considering how much the Clemson they were blitzing like crazy.
They were bringing like 7.
And considering how much they were in the backfield for that whole game, it is astounding that LSU came away with only 6 sacks of Joe Burrow. I mean, his mobility was, I think, one of the biggest surprises to me. I mean, we saw it a little bit in the SEC championship with 1 or 2 big plays that he made, but it seemed like every time Clemson defenses could not get off the field in the second half. Reminded me a lot of last year's game in that the third down conversions. I mean, at one point, I think LSU was 1 for 8 on third down conversions, but it got to the point that they were just becoming automatic because either the Clemson secondary was getting gassed and Joe Burrow was hitting them outside the numbers down the sideline, or it was just a deep enough pressure. The wide receivers were driving the DBs far enough back that Joe Burrow could just take off and use the speed he had to at least get down the field enough for a slide.
LSU finished 4 or 14 on third down conversions, but Clemson 1 for 11. You don't win like that. Big one for LSU, 628 total yards of offense. Joe Burrow's passes, at least 9 yards per pass. LSU had 118 yards on penalties, but I mean, they just ran away with it at the very end.
I mean, when you're 4 for 14 on third down, you're still putting up 40-plus points. That shows you
didn't get a third down very often, or at least in those very dangerous situations.
I mean, yeah, there was huge plays. There was checkdowns to Hilaire where he was able to elude defenders like I had never seen before. I mean, the move where he would run to the sidelines, slam on the brakes, Clemson ran past him, and he would take off, that I think netted LSU probably an extra 60, 70 yards on the night, just that one technique by Hilaire. And then, obviously, down the field passes by Joe Burrow, can't say enough about.
Well, and then you had Justin Jefferson hit the brakes and just
broke 2 guys' ankles.
Break Tanner Muse's ankles in 2 different directions. Like, it broke it back, and then he broke it back to the left somehow.
He broke it, put it back in place, and then broke it again.
But, yeah, I mean, what this LSU team did this year is truly incredible. They're the greatest LSU team ever. They've got to be in the discussion for greatest team ever.
Yeah, USA Today opinion article that came out, LSU's Joe Burrow just completed the greatest season by a college quarterback of all time, which in turn puts LSU as one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, they're the 4th team ever to go 15-0, the first team to beat the preseason AP top 4. They set a record for most points scored.
Aren't they also the first number 1 team to win for the playoffs?
Yeah.
They did it.
First 15-0 FCC team since Auburn, 2010.
They put up 40 on 5 different AP top 10 teams as they won 7 AP top 10 games.
Hey. Wait, were we top 10 when we played them?
Yes.
Not us. You didn't put 40 plus on us. Hey, you got to take your wins when you can get them.
Hey, Kevin Steele got some love for his 3-1-7 defense.
First drive of the game.
Yeah.
Love it. Except Auburn was the only one that had the athletes to sustain it for the entire
Every
season.
team after Auburn. Maybe Alabama didn't, but Georgia, LSU, I feel like another team, Georgia and Clemson did it. I feel like another team did it. And
I think Alabama Oklahoma tried.
Okay.
And that was a
disaster.
It was the worst I've ever seen.
They're still on the field.
I think Alabama just tried to line up and just say, we're going to try to outscore you.
Not fair.
We know that our defense isn't that good.
We're going to try to outscore you with
We're going to try to score 100 in this game, both teams.
We're going to head to our first quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will continue with the Extra Point, speaking about the College Football National Championship, and on top of that, some other college football news, especially out of Houston with their quarterback. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on Weagle 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
See y'all and let the wild beast stand. Ain't nowhere to hide, baby. This is our season.
And welcome back to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Ashamed Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. Look, we said it during the break. If LSU wins, we're playing some version of neck, and it happened.
I cannot believe that at 7:20 in the morning.
Hey, you got to get hyped. So if you're on your driving to work, at least you get a little bit of neck in your day.
You got to pay your respects to the LSU Tigers.
Yeah, pay your respects to what some people argue are one of the greatest teams in college football history. So they deserve it.
Me last second.
Yeah.
You're right.
Lest we forget.
If you wanna come in and join the show, you can by calling in at 334-844-9345 or asking a question in our live TV stream on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. As now we get into a little bit more college football news, especially with Houston's Derek King going into the transfer portal about 2 months after he said, "I'm not leaving." And then Chuba Hubbard said he's coming back to Oklahoma State. There's only two Oklahoma State running backs that have gotten 2,000 yards in the season. One's Chuba Hubbard. The other one?
Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And Chuba's coming back. Who will probably eventually end up being either a first or second round pick, depending on how things go.
Well, 24 minutes ago, speaking of Derek King, David Lake for 24/7 Sports, transfer quarterback Derek King is a strong fit for Rhett Lashley's offense in Miami.
for a second I thought Auburn, and then I forgot Brett Lashley's like been bouncing around the team.
I was thinking SMU.
Like
I was about to say
that would AC. That would have been.
It went from Auburn to UConn to SMU, and I forgot where he went after that. He's at Miami now. Is that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's offensive coordinator.
It's hard to keep over Brett Lashley these days. Very aggressive growl, I know. But let's so De'Aaron King leaving Houston. Miami, I mean, they got to find somebody. I mean, Manny Diaz just needs to find some sort of quarterback in his system to be able to work it out. Because the way that Miami just, look.
They've been struggling.
Yeah. Carter, that's going to happen like every morning now. So you might as well get used to it.
I mean, after putting
Do you
up
do anything?
a goose egg to La Tech, something's got to change.
Tate Martell got in that game, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I
That's
mean,
not quarterback.
I mean, statistically on the stat
he
sheet,
was wearing
sure.
he was wearing pads and on the field.
Yeah, if that's what you mean, then he was on the field. So there's De'Aaron King news. Chuba Hubbard returning back to Oklahoma State. I'm not sure what his draft stock is now.
He's supposed to be a first-round pick.
He's supposed to be first round pick this year if he wins.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to get that degree, or maybe he wants to be a first overall pick.
Not happening as a running back.
It's hard.
I mean,
what was the highest Zeke in the last 5 years, 6 years?
Saquon, I think, was up there.
Saquon second. What was Zeke like?
Saquon
fourth?
or Zeke? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those two.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe he's trying to get that top 10 money. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the number one running back next year.
I mean, I think that's possible, but it doesn't seem like he gets as much hype as guys like Zeke or Saquon. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets a lot of credit because he plays in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm. And not even because of the Big 12, because he's not at Texas or Oklahoma. He's at OSU.
Yeah, he's not at a perennial college football playoff contender year in and year out. Oklahoma State, cracked to the top 25 like twice and then fell right back out the next week.
Undeservedly, some may argue.
Yeah.
Hey, Oklahoma State
is returning everybody.
Will return Tylan Wallace, who would have made a heck of a run for the Biletnikoff had he not torn his ACL, and Chuba Hubbard. And their quarterback will be a sophomore.
So, I mean, they're returning a lot of firepower.
I'm not on speaking terms with Oklahoma State after their bowl game.
Wait, what happened?
They really disappointed me.
Oh, yeah. You picked Oklahoma State.
I don't remember who they played. They went up
Texas A&M.
14-0 and then just disappeared.
Sounds familiar.
I mean, that was kind of like a must-win game for Jimbo.
Yeah, he really did need that.
Let's think about how he's underwhelmed.
To be fair, he has had to play both teams in the national championship 2 years straight.
That's what Auburn did last year, and Auburn did
other years.
Didn't do this year.
And we can get into all the SEC coaches and the changes, kind of Lane Kiffin,
Mike Leach.
SEC, Mike Leach. I don't know what's going on with the SEC. It's become a meme now.
Yeah. SEC West is
Sam Pittman.
Psychotic.
Who?
Sam Pittman.
Arkansas coach.
That's who that is. I just kind of forgot about that.
He's a
goofball.
I think he's gonna end up being a solid coach. But Arkansas's tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's gonna
spot.
take. I mean, it was bad when Bielema took over. I don't know how much better it is after Morris left it, and it's not Morris's fault, but it's just that's gonna be an impossible job.
It's gonna be hard, and Arkansas is gonna be in the basement for the probably next 3 to 4 years.
Send him back to the Big 8.
They need to send him back somewhere.
SWC.
So there's the Lane Kiffin stuff. Ole Miss, obviously, is the Bama Ole Miss game in Ole Miss this year?
Yes. I also know the first 5 games are for Ole Miss are insane. They'll be 1-4. They play Baylor, Auburn, LSU, Alabama, and like Southeast Missouri State. Not necessarily order, but yeah, it's
they play FCS Southeast.
Yes, that'll be their lone win in the first month of the season.
A question coming into the studio from Buck Jordan asked, How do you feel about Georgia's chances of the college football playoff after losing pretty much 80% of their offense and pretty much their quarterback?
Now, okay, that defense over the next 2 years is going to be one of the scariest units in all of college football. I mean, they're going to be amazing. They're going to be great. If Jake Fromm and DeAndre Swift and that entire offensive line that was supposed to be one of the best 2 or 3 offensive lines in the country, they couldn't get it done. How do you think Jamie Newman is going to do?
Oh, that's the new guy.
Jamie Newman, the grad transfer from Wake Forest, his numbers look pretty solid until you take a deeper dive.
Yeah.
When he played out of conference teams, and this is the ACC we're talking about, his numbers were fantastic. When he went into conference play, they dropped off a cliff. And
is Wake in the coastal?
Defenses are better.
He's the guy that found out how you can win by 9 points in overtime.
Yes.
The thing about Newman is that he'll be more of a dynamic player than Fromm for sure. But I just don't know how much better he is than Fromm. I feel like Fromm is gonna be similar, but it's gonna come down to whether or not he can not be a game manager. He needs to be more than a game manager. He needs to take over a game, especially in the big games. They play Alabama week 3, something like that.
Yes,
that's
early
tough.
in the season. They play Alabama the same weekend Auburn plays Ole Miss.
So that's going to be an early test. You can't expect them to win that. They're probably going to lose that game because I believe he's also at Tuscaloosa.
Correct.
Who is I'm saying this, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer. Georgia's still the favorite in the East? Does Florida? Okay.
I think Florida's going to be, they're going to be the media favorite.
Trask.
They're going to be the betting favorite, everything. But that's the reason.
What about Tennessee?
They're going to be the sleeper pick that everyone loves on.
They're going to be the Missouri of this year?
They're going to be
Probably
the 7-5 one win you didn't expect.
Oh, Carter saying punt the brakes.
We all need to chill on the idea that Tennessee is all of a sudden.
Look,
I'm saying they're going to be loved on in the offseason. I didn't say I was going to be loving on them.
Carter, we joked on Tennessee this whole year until they started winning games, and now there's nothing I can say.
Look, I don't care. They didn't beat anybody.
Where do you think they're going to be picked at media days? That's
in the East or
in the East? They're going to be picked third in the East.
For sure,
yeah.
because
the
East is trash.
Yeah, I know.
Missouri's a dumpster fire. South Carolina's a dumpster fire.
Lynn Bowden's gone.
Kentucky. They get their quarterback back.
Georgia finishes conference play at Kentucky.
Terry Wilson is back.
Don't you give me hope.
Maybe Joey Gatewood gets a waiver and they run a 2 quarterback system.
I forgot he was there.
If Auburn has to play against Joey Gatewood.
Hey, we already played against Woody Barrett. We'll play against another one. Play against Woody Barrett.
That's so different.
Yeah. Play against Woody Barrett.
Woody Barrett got like 10 snaps in that game.
Hey, that's what they got at Auburn.
Because the other guy, I think the other guy was dying on the sidelines from just being lit up by our D-line the whole game.
You know the difference is, though? Woody Barrett won a bowl game this year.
Joey Gatewood might win a bowl game in next year, 2 years, or 3 years.
National championship, SEC championship.
Stop.
Hey, I'm here for Kentucky SEC championship. Not them winning, but them being in it. No, for laughs, for the giggles.
Have they ever been in the SEC
They've
championship?
been 2 years ago. They were 1 win against Georgia from being in it.
Oh yeah, I remember that year. It was so sad. But let's go ahead and head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're finally going to discuss the Houston Astros and everything that's going on with them because it ain't looking too good. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org. Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. As we talked about college football for the first 30 minutes, once again, LSU are your national champions of the college football world after a 42-25 win over Clemson last night. If you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345. Or ask a question in the live stream on Periscope, Facebook, or YouTube, and we'll answer it live on the show. We're now segueing into some bigger news that happened yesterday. The Houston Astros, in a chain of events, had a lot of things happen, but it ended pretty much with their GM and their manager getting fired, canned, nada, gone. After the investigation concluded on the cheating scandal that blew up about before we left, so late November, early December, and it's spiraling now because now the Red Sox have been caught up in it, and
it looks like Alex Cora is going to get punishment as well.
Yeah, he's ain't nobody safe right now, except for the way the MLB put it. All the players will probably not see any punishment for now, or they said they won't punish them. So I mean,
I feel like it was kind of a weak punishment. I mean, what they lost $5 million. They lost 4 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Would you not give that up?
Their next 2 first-round and second-round draft picks.
I mean, I just think the thing is, I think any team would give up all of that for a World Series. That's the whole point.
I mean, but that's the type of impact that. Okay, so in your 2 first-round and 2 second-round draft picks, you're expecting 3 of them to be everyday players for you in 5 years.
I mean, I guess down the road it does affect you more, but it's just the fact. I mean, they got away with it. They got their World Series. They're probably going to be in the dumpster soon again.
I mean, it's going to set them back a fair amount.
I mean, I think that's fair, but it's just specific to that year.
I mean, yeah, now the punishment feels lessened because the manager and the GM both had a 1-year suspension, but then both of them get fired. So it feels like that lessened it, but in the moment when it first came out, my immediate reaction was, wow, that's a lot.
I mean, I think it's just when you, like I said, a World Series is probably worth that amount. So, I mean, now they did obviously have to pay that amount, leading up to it because they were in the dumpster before that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams take that punishment upon themselves to try to attempt to win a World Series, and it usually doesn't work.
If you go to who won the World Series wiki page on Wikipedia, there's now an asterisk by the Astros.
Really?
And the Red Sox, even though the Red Sox investigation has not finished yet.
I know there was a big, I think Josh Vitale of the Montgomery Advertiser was talking about how the NCAA is dumb to vacate wins. So I guess should they have vacated it?
I mean, that's why yesterday, put in the group chat, the Dodgers win the 2017 World Series.
The MLB told them not to talk about it.
They told every team not to talk about it.
So I guess we're just gonna bury it.
Pretty much. Which is kind of dumb. But.
I mean, I remember when Yu Darvish pitched that perfect game in Game 7. That was pretty good. Don't you guys remember that?
Of course.
I mean, it's tough because not if it happened, that it did happen.
And I read a book about how the Astros hitting coach found out he was tipping signs, and am I figuring out that was a lie and it was all a trash can? I feel cheated.
You should get a refund on that book.
The clips of some of those clips of them banging the trash can are the most hilarious things I've ever watched. I mean, we're talking a completely silent stadium, and all of a sudden you hear doo doo doo, and it's just. I mean, that's as blatant as
pretty
it
clear.
gets. I mean,
yeah. And I think, what was it eventually? They were
They were whistling at first.
Weren't they doing a documentary and the
Yeah,
cameras
they-
inadvertently?
And they kept it in. They had, for their 2017 World Series documentary, they showed the whole setup.
The setup, yeah.
There's a little table.
And didn't edit it out, and that's some of the evidence that's being used against them.
And the best part is that at the floor of that table was just a big pile of sunflower seeds. It's very clear that someone was sitting there all season and never swept.
Oh man! So the Astros. I mean, I don't know what that's gonna do for this season. I mean, I feel like for the most part, they'll probably end up back in the playoffs. I don't know. I mean, because other than their GM being fired and their manager being fired, as far as did everybody come back for the Astros this year? They lost one player. I think they lost one player. I don't remember.
Yeah,
they
Garrett
lost
Cole's
Cole?
gone. He's at the Yankees now.
Look, baseball's hard for me to keep up with. Okay, it is. Even though that was the Yankees, it's hard to keep up with. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like now. Here's the thing: for those two guys that got fired, they got a 1-year suspension. They got to serve. I mean, aren't they kind of untouchable now? Why would you even hire them even after a year? I mean, I guess to win. If you really want to win,
I would say this isn't I wouldn't say this is any kind of legal case where they're gonna. I think they'll be back at some point for sure because I would say they're pretty decent at what they do, and I think they'll after a year it's gonna be slightly forgotten. I mean, you'll hear about it, the jokes whenever they play when they're with their new teams, but
when fans start beating on things to simulate,
there won't be any kind of outcry whenever they get hired again.
Well, whoever team does hire them, they're going to weather that storm for the first week because you know what's going to happen.
Thing. It's only going to be a week, and no one will care anymore.
You better hope. You don't want that to be following you around for the whole 162 game season that baseball still plays these days.
I mean, I'm sure everyone will heckle about it, but it's not going to be the end of the world for them.
I think it's easier for Hinch to come back than Lunau, or however you pronounce his last name, just because Hinch will be an assistant, some managerial role in the next 2-3 years, I bet.
Yeah. And, this extends into the Red Sox because like Jacob said earlier, it looks like their manager is not going to get out of this scot-free either. And what did that do to the Red Sox? I mean, well, thankfully, are the allegations that the Red Sox were also doing that the year they won the World Series?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
Because Cora was the manager that year.
Has any other team been implicated at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so
somebody made some vague thing to.
It wasn't about the Brewers.
Christian Yelich on Twitter, and he went off on him
because it was one of the pitchers that he was going against. It might have been like Yu Darvish, but he looked in the right field where the bullpen was or something like that, and it looked like he was looking for something when what are you looking for other than a sign or something? And then he absolutely put him in a coffin with some roast over the pitcher. So I think he was saying, I don't need to steal signs from you. And it was pretty funny.
Hey, I miss the old days where the Blue Jays just had a guy go stand out in a super bright shirt in dead center field, and he would stand up whenever there was a certain pitch coming, and he would sign in from back there.
Hey, I mean, look.
That was like 4 years ago.
4 years ago? The Blue Jays did that?
It was when Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista and Encarnacion were all on that same team, and they just hit a stupid amount of postseason home runs.
Well, is Donaldson still with the Braves? Is that still a thing?
He is a free agent currently. Yeah, he hasn't done
TBD.
anything.
Okay.
But he's about to get a nice deal because of the way the market's different for him than it was. Like last year, he's coming off injuries. The free agent market wasn't great. The free agent market's a heck of a lot better this year in terms of the value that players are getting. So he's about to get paid a lot of money for an older third baseman.
Oh, at least he's getting paid. Next, we'll talk about college basketball. I didn't know how to get out of that.
I thought you were about to connect that to yourself or something.
Nah. I was going to make some sort of joke about a connection between the Blue Jays doing that in Donaldson and the Braves this year, but then I don't want to go down that road. Even though it was a joke. I don't want to go down that road because the season's already going to be tough enough for Braves fans. But for that, almost did it.
That's half.
No, that's not half. It's either all or nothing.
Okay.
How'd I get out of this segment? I'm trying not to say it.
You can go to a commercial break.
Let's go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'll figure it out eventually. Let's go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will have college basketball on tap. The AP Top 25, Auburn moving on up to that dangerous top 5. Well, Auburn was already 5. Top spot that you don't want to be at because things don't go well, especially if you're a Big Ten team. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
All the times we had, can't forget what you can't get back, and you can't find.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home Walk Restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Danger, I don't fit in, I'm a stranger. Believer, I can take out all the evil.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Carter, since you requested it, I'll say it. You're handsome, beautiful, dashing, and lovely host. Hey, they can't hear you right now anyway. You gotta let me finish. Jared Dillard, now you're back on.
The context over the break was radically different.
That's okay. They don't need to know that. And joining me in the studio is Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. We got about 8 minutes before we head to the top of the hour break. Thank you for joining us on the show on your drive into work. Thankfully, it's not thunderstorming right now. However, there is about a 50% chance starting at around, I'll say 9, 10 o'clock into about 5 o'clock. But thankfully, it shouldn't be as bad as we get into it. AP Top 25 dropped yesterday for the Auburn Tigers. They moved on up one spot. Kansas did drop decently far, even after a loss to a top 5 team in Baylor. Kansas now, I believe, 6. I don't have it in front of me. Kansas 6, Auburn 4. Baylor is at, 2?
I'm truly shocked that they aren't one.
They should be.
They are the best team in the country.
I think it's going to be hard to knock Gonzaga. Well, I say hard. They're right there.
I mean, if Baylor keeps winning, Baylor will jump them.
Let's see. Let's look at Baylor's next couple of games that they got to play. They play Iowa State tomorrow.
Iowa State.
Nope. It's in Baylor.
No, they won't be.
A bad Iowa State team.
Yeah. Which, once again, Iowa State is Auburn's nemesis in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Then Baylor goes on the road to Oklahoma State. They come back home for Oklahoma. And then, speaking of the Big 12 SEC Challenge, they're matched up with Florida on the road, which that'll be interesting. That'll be a good game.
I guess at
Baylor
Florida,
will probably win by 10, but yeah, it's at Florida. And then after that, then they go to Iowa State.
To be fair, if Florida were to pull out a win on Saturday against Auburn, I feel like that could turn their season around. And who knows what happens after that.
I mean, Florida's one decent run away from, I'm not saying that Florida reminds me of Auburn last year, because we know Auburn opened up SEC play. They were 2-4. It was kind of sluggish. And then, Auburn was 7-7?
And they were 7-7 on the bubble.
Yeah, and then they, did what they did. And it's been the story ever since. Baylor, in everybody's minds, in the group consensus, they're probably the number one team. For Gonzaga, they're just hanging around. They know what they're doing. They're gonna go in their conference. It'll be a whole thing. They're not worried. Now they do play. I mean, I don't really know how good their conference is, but
it's Mount St. Mary's. What is the team they always lose to?
I think it's St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Gales.
Yeah, St. Mary's. Who they're 15-4. Like, if you look at their conference without knowing what's going on, it looks like the conference is really good, because who is this team? It's like Santa Clara. It is Santa Clara. I'm good at this. Santa.
I didn't know who it is, so I clicked it, but I'm good at this.
Santa Clara is 15-3. Pacific is 14-5. VOU is 13-3. St. Mary's is 15-4. I mean, it looks like, it's a decent conference. I mean, St. Mary's has a top 25 win.
I mean, Pepperdine gave them a run for their money. They're 1-2 in conference.
So, I don't know. I mean, this is college basketball. Somebody's going to slip up somewhere. So, but looking at the rest of this AP Top 25, I mean, are there any teams that are sticking out? I mean, let's go ahead and say Ohio State. Where do they fall to? 21.
Butler's on a run right now. They
are?
kind of snuck in the top
good.
5. No one's really talked about them. Their only loss is against Baylor on the road. It's by 1 point. I mean, they should probably be undefeated. They just unfortunately played who should be the number 1 team in the country on the road.
Yeah.
They got Seton Hall coming up this week. That's a big game for them.
Kentucky has cracked into the top 10. So the 2 SEC teams that are ranked are in the top 10.
I mean, I think Carter mentioned it yesterday. It's because of their name. They're not a top 10 team.
Yeah.
This is a weird Kentucky team. They're kind of led by seniors.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen.
You've got Quickly and you've got Richards, who have stepped up huge for them recently. And
Maxey's the guy. He's their scorer, and he's done a pretty good job at that as a freshman.
I can't wait for the Richards-Wiley matchup,
Mm-hmm.
just like I can't wait for the Wiley-Blackshear matchup.
Yeah. You know, when it comes right down to it, for Auburn, they obviously have Alabama tomorrow. That will be a big game. Let's go ahead and just take a look at that. Our line should have came out by now. I don't see it, actually. So there's currently no Vegas line, at least on this game, on the app that I'm using.
BPI says 65.5% chance to win for Auburn.
We'll look it up in the break. I'm pretty sure it is posted somewhere. It's just not here right now. But the way it's looking for Auburn, I mean, once again, do not overlook Alabama. I know they're 8-7, but they are a scrappy 8-7 team that knows how to score, and they're playing at home against their rival, the rival who's undefeated, right? Don't overlook Alabama, but Auburn gets past Alabama, and don't overlook Florida. And if Auburn gets past Florida, I mean, this is the Auburn team that I'm not saying that they're the runaway favorite, because there's still half a season to play, and you never know what team catches on. But it's Auburn, and then you have the likes of Kentucky. You have your question marks that are Arkansas. They're trying to get ranked. They're like right at 28, I believe. There's Arkansas. I'm not sure what your guys' opinion on Tennessee is.
I don't know yet.
Or Georgia. You know, I mean, the way their seasons are going, and then there's everybody else. The SEC looks like it's a pretty narrow field this year when it comes to at least tournament contenders.
Yeah, it's narrow and not deep at all. So it's one of those things where there's going to be a few upsets, but come SEC tournament time, I mean, it'll probably be the top teams that you see in the semifinals.
I'm sorry. Let me also put some respect on LSU. I kind of forgot about them. They're good. I don't know how good yet. I got to wait on that, but they're good.
They are moving up. They are building things. Granted, they can't take a step back tonight as they go to A&M.
Yeah, I can't lose that game.
Like
They're
that's
the second worst team in the SEC, and only because Vanderbilt lost Neesmith.
yeah,
That's gonna be tough for them.
that was one of the worst basketball games I've watched all year when Vandy played A&M on Saturday and Vandy was without Naismith because it was horrendous.
Virginia Syracuse still takes the cake for me because it gave me flashbacks to NC State's 24-point game they had, which the Syracuse Virginia game was on the anniversary, I believe, of the NC State game because NC State was playing. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but just know that happened.
All right, give me. I got 2 tidbits of information for y'all.
Okay.
How many teams in the SEC? Because there's this narrative that Auburn doesn't make threes this year.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams in the SEC make more threes than Auburn?
Do you mean like
percentage or like
per game?
Per game.
Probably like 2.
I'm gonna say 3.
I was gonna say 3.
The answer is 2. It is
okay.
Alabama,
yeah,
Vanderbilt, which that'll change.
That's gonna go down. Yeah.
What about this one? How many teams in the SEC make more free throws per game than Auburn?
Auburn's free throw volume is crazy.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna say they're number 1.
Not percentage, but the number made.
I think Auburn's number 1.
I'm going to say Auburn's number 2.
3.
Auburn is number 2.
I'm going to say Alabama gets to the line a lot.
I'm going to say it's not
they shoot
Georgia.
threes.
Georgia sucks.
Georgia?
I believe Kentucky makes more free
No, that makes sense.
Okay, fair.
Kentucky makes more free throws. Auburn shoots the most free throws in the conference.
Okay.
Yeah. If Auburn can just, bump that percentage up 5-8 points or percentage points.
I forget what game it was, but I think they won by the amount they made more free throws than. It might have been. I'm not sure what game it was, but Auburn made like 7 more free throws than somebody, and they won by 7.
I just remember Austin Wiley hit like 14 free throws in a row, and I was like, he's still our best free throw shooter.
He went 9 of 10 against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It's just like
yeah,
the greatest moment of his basketball career.
It's like Austin Wiley's our center, Samir Dowdy's our guard, right? Samir goes to the line. Oh, my goodness. Here we go again. Wiley goes to the line. All right, automatic. Let's go.
He was on a roll. He hadn't missed a free throw for like 2 weeks, and then he's kind of been on and off. Like he had a good Vanderbilt game.
Yeah, he's had a struggle.
A good Georgia game, but then I think
if you had to have somebody go to the line to make 2 on the Auburn team right now, who are you picking? Actually.
Right now, I'd probably say McCormick. Like these last 2 games he's had has been pretty good. That might change like literally this week.
Am I crazy if I say
the
Wiley?
man was shooting 26% at the line at one point this season.
But he's turning it around.
It's better. It's not
starting to get
good.
How's Dan Gel from the line?
He doesn't get to the line.
Yeah, I was about to say. I don't even know if he's been to the line.
My second pick would be Wiley.
Who do you have?
I really like Javon.
My second pick would be Wiley.
Am I crazy if I say Wiley's my first pick? Am I crazy in saying that?
I think Dan Gel's the answer.
Okay, okay.
I'm with you. I am 100% with you.
I think if Dan Gel gets to the line, now granted,
Also, hey,
probably not get to the line very often.
If you want a good laugh, watch Wiley at the line because he raises the ball and he's kind of got that little, like, he raises it and stops and then he shoots. Watch other teams the first time he shoots free throws and how much they freak out when he raises it. When he raises it, they think he's shooting.
And they'll step in the lane.
He gets lane violations like crazy. Vandy, no matter how many times he went to the line, they freaked out every single shot, and it was awesome.
How's Macklemore from the line? I mean, he probably doesn't get there very often either.
He was like 67% last year.
Team average.
He might have shot 7 free throws this year. I mean, I can't think of any times he's really gone to the line.
I think the cool thing is, and double checking me on this because I may be a little bit off, but he's been the second leading scorer in the last 2 games.
Yeah, he was he
had 14 against
Vandy and 13 against Georgia. And because Auburn spread out their points so evenly, he ended up as the second leading scorer in both of those games very quietly.
You know who I don't want at the line for Auburn is Alan
Is
Flanagan.
it Javon? I'm about to say.
Javon's close.
He's done better these last 2 games, okay?
Oh, man. All right.
I'm giving it to the hot hand.
It's about to hit 8 o'clock, and we have not taken our 5-minute break because we didn't turn the lights off for Carter because he's having a little bit of a headache issue. So, what? I'm trying to take care of you. Okay, it's our version of.
Sounds worse than it is.
It's our version of load management. Okay.
It's that I just. It's not that it's.
It's not that. It's just we're tired and it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and it was a late night last night because of that stupid championship game. Because commercials, right? Got to pay the advertisers. Let's go to our top of the hour break, and when we come back, we will have more of the extra point. Oh, look, we're going back to college basketball, and we're talking about San Diego State because they have a game tonight, and
probably not going to lose it.
I got something to say about that game.
Okay, you're going to say they're going to lose it.
You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Kaisan. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together, we are stronger.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will you listen to?
Jeffrey. Ah! Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
The following is a production of WEGL, 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone. It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams.
WEGO Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series.
where every
Touchdown Auburn! Jacoby McClain!
game
They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow!
lives.
Can't keep me down.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGO 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart on this Tuesday, January 14th. The current time is 8:06. For some of you, you may already be in the office and sat down. I was like, you know what? I wonder what those boys are talking about. Thank you for making us a part of your morning.
Oh, thank you, and not I'm sorry.
We're going back to college basketball after our top of the hour break. Some games tonight. There's a couple of good ones there, especially, well, Jack, do you have a Big Ten stat of the day?
I do. Your Big Ten stat of the day is that 11 of the 14 teams in the Big Ten are now projected to finish within one game of 500. Michigan State projected at 14-6. Nebraska and Northwestern both projected at 5-15. Everyone in between, somewhere in that 500 range. So, the most parity-ridden league strikes again as the Big Ten continues to have no separation. And I read an article on NCAA.com about why it's so hard to win on the road in the Big Ten. Something about attendance. I don't know. I think they're just bad.
The two ranked Big Ten teams that are playing today. Ohio State's at home against Nebraska.
Maybe they can finally win a Big Ten game.
They're 17-point favorites, so we'll talk about that tomorrow on how they blew that. And the interesting one, Wisconsin is at home against number 17 Maryland. Wisconsin, 3.5-point favorites at home. So it looks like another ranked team on the road is going to bite the dust.
Wisconsin has one more projected win than Maryland does.
So to keep on rolling through some other good games, Kansas goes on the road to Oklahoma. Oklahoma 11-4. They're pretty decent in the Big 12. Texas Tech goes on the road to Kansas State. Kansas State may be 7-8, but they are 3.5-point dogs at home. That's pretty good for them. Louisville goes on the road to Pitt. The ACC's been kind of weird this year, so hey, maybe you never know with Pitt these days.
Man, quit trying to make Pitt a thing.
Pitt is a thing.
It is not a thing.
Yes, it is.
Beat UNC in Chapel Hill. No one, and not anyone can do that.
But they also lost to Miami and Wake Forest.
Is Miami bad, or they're just not good?
They're 10-5, 2-3 in conference.
Yeah. Yeah. And Clemson, fresh off their win against UNC, comes back home to play number 3 Duke.
They're about to get smashed by 20.
Duke 10-point favorites on the road.
I didn't know their arena was called Little John Coliseum.
I didn't know either.
You learn something new every day.
And finally, big game that I'll be watching at 10 o'clock tonight. San Diego State travels to take on Fresno State.
I don't know why you're so
do you think that's
gonna?
Do you think Fresno State's gonna pull off the upset?
I think so. I'm calling my shot.
Can we talk about how? And I'm really confused about this. When you look at the ESPN schedule for tonight's games, and they have the option to buy tickets, what game do y'all think is $7 more expensive than any other game tonight?
Is it the Wisconsin game?
It might be San Diego State.
No, it's Bowling Green at Western Michigan.
Hey, that's
the most expensive ticket on the
That
schedule.
might be a capacity issue.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That rivalry, it goes back a long time in basketball.
Second is Iowa at Northwestern.
There you go, Big Ten attendance.
Western Michigan Bowling. They hold. It's about 5,400. Auburn's not even double that.
Yeah, solid. The reason why Fresno State, I got a feeling. That's all I can say. I got Something in my bones.
It's a bad feeling.
God,
Probably is. Something in my bones, Carter.
I don't like the way you said bones either.
It's just something in my bones, man. Something's
in my
telling me.
Yeah, I'm looking at
What was
W.
that?
I'm looking at Western Michigan's arena. I cannot find a picture of it full. For basketball. It's full for hockey right there.
Take a look at Fresno State's schedule. They have already played San Diego State once. They lost by 9. And that was on the road. Look, I know what it looks like. I know Fresno State's record is not good at all. I know they're 5-11.
They only lost to Oregon by 14 at Oregon.
There's your positive outlook.
Yeah.
And they lost at San Diego State by 9.
And they lost to, at the time, number 25 Utah State 77-70 in overtime.
Hey, they're a big game team. They show up just enough to lose by a little bit.
Single digits.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something weird about this game. I don't know.
I feel like you're making more
right.
out of it than
I'm
should
feeling
be.
something.
Fresno State lost to CSUN 73-72. Auburn put 116 points on CSUN.
Oh, no. Auburn would definitely wipe the floor with Fresno State.
Well, that's not the point I'm making, but the point is CSUN is awful.
Auburn would
and Fresno lost to them.
Auburn would completely wipe the floor with Fresno State and New Williams.
I forgot.
Which, by the way, yes, he's still there. we looked it up. He's still there.
He's their third leading scorer.
Ooh, good for him.
12 points per game.
Good for him. I'm proud.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing.
Hey, I bet Auburn wishes they had him with his 80.8% free throw shooting.
You right. Would he lead the team if he came to Auburn at 80%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't believe he's like 73.
Because who leads us right now? Is it Samir with that 74%?
Well, I mean, if you want to go off anybody who shot free throws, Jalen Williams is 3-3. But
People who shoot high volumes.
76.7%. Best on the team. Jamal Johnson second at 76.5.
It would be nice to have
Last year, we had 3 guys at this point, and
above
81% or higher.
Yeah, it was automatic. But you know, this is going back to the pride thing. Obviously, want Auburn to be the last undefeated team. For San Diego State, I mean, let's be honest, they're probably going to go undefeated if they don't trip up somewhere. I mean, their schedule is very favorable for them.
See, the ugly look for you is Fresno State. Yes, they're 5-11, but it's not like they are this team that plays above what the line is. They are 6-7-1 against the line in games, and they're a 7.5 point dog in this one.
Yeah, but you know what?
But Jared's picking them straight up.
You know what they have?
Heart.
Oh,
They got heart. Just like Pitt. They're going to win.
Next, you're just like you said for Iowa State. You don't go into Ames, Iowa, expecting a win.
You don't.
You don't go into the Save Mart Center and expect to win.
The Save Mart Center. So we have Little John Coliseum and Save Mart Center. I love it.
Capacity 9,000 or
I'm about to say
no 15,596.
Okay, so who do they rent that from? Who really owns that? Who really owns that arena?
Definitely not on
big
campus.
Arena for them.
Definitely not on campus.
Yeah, that's definitely not that must be like a old arena that an NBA team or a G League or somebody used to use, or maybe it's one of the like Civic Center things.
I'm looking up the Save Mart Center right now.
Well, hurry up because we got to go to break.
It has been the home of the Fresno State Bulldogs from 2003 to the present.
Okay, they've been there for a while.
And the Fresno Falcons, the ECAHL team from 03 to 08.
I'm guessing that's when the league folded.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. And those have been the only two people that have been in that arena?
Yes.
I mean, at this point, Fresno State owns it. Jack, did you see there's a new...
It's a multi-purpose arena on the campus of California State University, Fresno. So it's...
See stuff.
Is that Fresno State?
Did they have it by like transitive property? I don't get what's
That is
going
Fresno
on.
State. Yes,
Oh.
I didn't realize Fresno State was referred to. Their formal name is California State University, Fresno.
Oh, Fresno's not a state.
Neither is Portland. But Jack, before we go to break, did you see that there's a new 3-on-3 hockey league happening?
I did not. That sounds exciting.
Google it. I want you to Google it so you know what's up.
I'll take a look at it.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, what do we have? Away from my microphone. What do we have on the docket? I need to keep this next
Settle
to
down,
me.
Jared.
Yeah.
Jared needs a seatbelt. Keep him put.
8:15. Breaking down last night NBA games. We're going to the NBA. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Walking away from you. That's what I'm gonna do. I got the same old shoes with a new attitude.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard having fun with Carter Bird, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart, as it is currently 8:19 as we now turn over to the National Basketball Association. As a couple of games last night for the NBA. Not too many, I would say, headlines or anything like that. I mean, Lakers beat up on the Cavs. Cavs still going through their stuff. Portland taking down Charlotte 115-112. Orlando 2-point win over Sacramento. The Thunder continue their roll, taking down Cat and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Boston win over Chicago. The Pacers defeat the Sixers 101-95. And finally, New Orleans 117-110 win in overtime over the Pistons. But the big news, that in 2 days we could see the debut of Zion Williamson. That's the story right now.
No, the story right now is Zion obviously not too excited about it because he was falling asleep on the sidelines of the Pelicans game last night.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're all about to fall asleep in here. So
To be fair, yeah. I mean, to be fair.
Does he know how to walk?
Does he know the new way to walk?
Say it feels like it's
he did the windmill dunk for the media a couple days ago during warm-ups.
But does he know how to walk?
I don't know.
Does he know how to run and walk? Because that was the story.
I don't know. We'll see on Thursday when sources are saying that is going to be the debut of Zion. That hopefully if things go right in practices and warm-ups and everything, we'll see him on Thursday.
They're
if
11
not Thursday,
games, 11 games
weekend.
below 500. Why?
Got to sell tickets.
At this point.
They literally said they're trying to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
When their coach or GM, I forget who said it, but someone was like, we're not going to sit them for the year because we're going to try to make the playoffs.
And, I mean, to be fair, even though there are 11 games under 500, you look at, oh, my goodness.
They're only 3.5 games back at the playoffs.
I just realized how much of a, cluster 8 to, Golden State is.
Not including Golden State.
No.
Don't include Golden State.
Hey, you never know. They're going to run.
8 to the Pelicans.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're not too far out. You can be an under 500 team and make the playoffs.
They're red hot right now, 7-3 in their last 10.
Hey, I mean, for the Pelicans,
And if Zion comes in and knows how to run, then hey.
And at the very least, they sell single game tickets.
Man, there's too many teams below 500 in the NBA.
It's hard when all the good teams like the Bucks and the Lakers are single digit losses right now. That hurts. That makes everybody else look bad. Or that makes the lower part of your conference look bad. That's tough stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we're going to get 2 teams with probably a losing record in the East into the playoffs and then 1 out of the West, I mean, it's just bad.
Gross.
I think you should win. You should be required to win 50% of your game, more than 50% of your games in order to play in the playoffs.
I mean, it's just what happens when you let in more than half the league.
I mean, I know it came out after we went on break. I know the NBA started looking at alternatives. I know there was a whole deal with the in-season tournament between teams.
That sounds dumb.
That sounds like a boring All-Star game.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
That sounds like when they made the All-Star game decide home field advantage in the World Series.
Yeah.
What was it? It was like a 4-game open where it's like the regular season. You just play 4 games.
I think it was
teams.
like a full month.
It's like a whole thing.
And the incentive was like an extra $1 million for everyone that won, like every player on the team that won.
What it should be if no, let's not get too crazy. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that. No, I'm about to say.
What are you going to say?
I was going to say, because Jack brought up home field.
Oh, no.
Right?
Oh, no.
It should be. Well, that'd be kind of hard to do because what happens if 2 East teams make it? Then I was going to say if whoever won that in-season tournament, that conference gets home court. But that's kind of
I mean,
I don't like the idea of the in-season tournament at all. It's not college basketball.
I mean, I'm not against it.
I mean, it'd be fun, but
I'm not against it.
That's just not for the NBA.
And then the NBA was talking about changing the playoffs, how it's set up to, well, a lot of people say the whole, the 8 teams get in, but then there was I think 8 and 9 play a play-in game.
Yeah.
Which, once again, then you start getting other teams that are under 500 most likely.
Yeah, if you're the NBA, you can't expand the playoffs. You're already letting in under 500. You can't have 18 teams in your 30-team league make the playoffs every year.
You can't expand it because of that, and also the fact that the season's long enough. I mean, the playoffs take forever.
It's the NBA playoffs, which there's no 3 days between games. You can't add an additional round between that.
NBA got to figure out something.
I got to.
Now, I think they're doing better about the whole stacking games for, players. Usually, they were playing, back to back to back. Now it's a little bit more spread out. They're trying to take care of the players better, but they're trying to figure out something. For games tonight in the NBA, taking a close look at that, we have, look at that, Dallas against Golden State. I'll be able to watch that. Phoenix against Atlanta, Jack, for you. Utah and Brooklyn, New York and Milwaukee, Houston, Memphis, and Cleveland versus the Clippers.
I mean, what's the best game on here? Jazz Nets?
Yeah, easy. Jazz Nets.
Yeah, I guess you could argue
It
Rockets, Grizzlies.
Yeah, it depends on how much you like Memphis at that point, or how much you like John Morant. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much going on. It's more of a college basketball night than NBA night. To be fair.
Before we get out of NBA, let me
thank you for saving me because I didn't know where to go.
Let me
after that.
spin you a tale. This happened yesterday, but I didn't get to bring it up. Let me set the scene for you. We're in Brooklyn, New York, Barclays Coliseum. Hawks are playing the Nets. There are 7 seconds left. Nets are up by 22.
Oh,
Paul Watson signed to a 10-day deal. He's on the Atlanta Hawks. He's making his NBA debut. He's about to score his first NBA points. He's going up for a layup from the paint. He gets up
it's
there.
Like a little floater almost.
He's ready. He's feeling it. He's about to get his first points in the NBA. And then Jarrett Allen comes out of nowhere and spikes this ball all the way to half court, and everyone cheers.
Yeah, that was brutal. I saw that. Oh, God.
That poor man. He didn't deserve that.
He came back to the bench. Everybody was rubbing his fro. They were feeling good. But poor Paul Watson.
On the bright side.
I guess the other story last night was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped a 20, and 10 triple-double.
Yeah. I think,
he was like the youngest player ever do it.
To do a 20-rebound triple-double.
Yeah, so Alexander, let's see, how old is he?
21?
21 years, 185 days. He beat Shaquille O'Neal by a little bit less than 100 days. I don't know why I said his full name, Shaq. Sorry, I was just reading it. Jokic is third. Maurice Stokes back in 55-56 was fourth. And Dolph Skays back in 50-51 was fifth. And they were at 22 years, so. But good on him. And for the Thunder, I mean, for a team that kind of looked like it was just in complete rebuild mode, and granted, they had a lot of good pieces, don't get me wrong. We just didn't know what it was going to build. We didn't know what puzzle that they were going to form out of those pieces. I got to give credit to the Thunder. I mean, 23-17. I know it's 7 in the West, but
right now they're solidly in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's I can't complain at all. I mean, 8-2 in the last 10 as well. Playing well.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a 5-game lead on the Grizzlies.
I mean, I want to say that once you're at 7, you're kind of safe for the season, but you never know these days. There's such a wide gap between 7 and 8. It feels like from a talent perspective.
Yeah, this year for sure.
Especially, and then in the East, it's 6 and 7, where you have the Sixers, and then you have the Sixers are already at 6. Hate to see it. But anything else in the NBA before we get out of here, or get out of the NBA? All right, I mean that's it for the NBA. We're gonna head to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more of the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Make it green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the US EPA.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
I've tasted blood and it is sweet. I've had the rug pulled beneath my feet.
Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Carter Burt, Jacob Hillman, and Jack Hart. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where we're going with this segment. Is there anything in sports we want to talk about that I may not have thought about?
To the ESPN homepage.
Wow, Jared, I wish you had told us this before we
I like to keep you guys on your toes. That's how I like to do this.
Jack, if you ever had a shot to bring up the NHL, it's now.
I can bring up that 3-man ice league, whatever you told me to look up.
It's a summer league.
It looks a lot like the Big Three in that it's going to be a traveling cadre of teams that go from city to city to play hockey. I don't know a whole lot about it. Their website, it looks nice, but there's a lot of information, which scares me. Their social media includes TikTok, which also scares me at the top. And all their highlights is just NHL highlights. So I don't know about this yet. I mean, it's going to have to prove itself a little
I'm reading.
bit.
It says, debuting in June 2021, the 3-Ice League will essentially be a traveling road show. There will be 8 teams with 7 players and a goalie with 1 coach. Teams will not be affiliated with the city, but rather with different sponsors. Taking a page from Formula One Racing, each tour stop will feature a bracket-style tournament format with games played on a full-size rink. Each game will have 2 8-minute halves and a running clock. No penalties, only penalty shots. No long intermissions, just pure excitement, said the commissioner.
Well, when you have to tell your fans that there's going to be pure excitement. Here's something. Here's another funny story I can tell you about is that last night the Bruins were in Philadelphia. Game was tied 5-5 in a shootout. We go to round 5. Philadelphia with the advantage. Brad Marchand lines up to take the shootout attempt and skates right past the puck. Flyers win.
In a shootout?
In a shootout. There was no one but him and the goalie.
I see the video.
He skated right across center ice.
Oof.
Well, that's about as much hockey
that's
you're going to
tough.
get, on this show that I'm ever going to allow.
You want to talk about your coach, Jimmy Johnson, Jared? And his induction to the NFL Hall of Fame?
I didn't know.
Jared wasn't.
No.
Okay.
Here, you said Jimmy Johnson. I didn't hear the coach part, so I thought Jimmy Johnson, a NASCAR driver, and I was like,
he's retiring after this year.
Yeah, he is. But Jimmy Johnson, that was a good moment. I like that moment.
It's a lot better than them just being held hostage in a hotel room and then getting a knock on the door.
Yeah, that was a very good moment. I like that. It was very wholesome.
Bill Cowher got it as well.
Aikman was
he was surprised.
Well.
Yeah,
he didn't know that was happening.
I think the way they put that production on and kind of how they presented it and everybody being there and just his words, his reaction, that was pretty good. That can make your kind of day. Now, what I was looking at was the St. Louis Battlehawks training camp day 9 update from the XFL. That's what I was looking at.
What's the biggest update from St. Louis?
Jonathan Hayes, head coach, said it's the little things that will allow us to be great.
That's a pretty sweet cliche quote.
I was gonna say.
So obviously the XFL is upcoming. It's what, 3 weeks away ish?
Yeah, first week of February.
It's like that quote is like last night when they put up the Clemson keys to victory, and it was 2 Dabo Sweeney quotes.
Yes,
like, it's a 60-minute game, and then like what was the other one?
It wasn't even Clemson keys to victory. It just said Clemson Tigers, quote, it's a 60-minute game. It was like it's an official team statement.
It was Pete Carroll.
Like the 2 most cliche quotes you could possibly have.
Pete Carroll, he didn't he tell his team at halftime when they were down 21-3, we're playing like a 0-0 game. he told his team at halftime, I think Pam Oliver said it's like the message in the locker room was that it's a 0-0 game, and someone tweeted because they were down 21-3, like the Seahawks are going to be confused when they lose like 28-17. So, wow.
Speaking of college football playoffs, Clemson, going back to those odds, did open as favorites.
They will be.
That is being followed by, I believe, Alabama is second on that list.
Is T. Higgins, is he leaving?
He might be a was he a freshman last year?
He was a sophomore last year.
Okay. Then
Ross is going to be a junior.
I would imagine Higgins is gone. And I mean, somehow Tabo will talk him and Etienne into coming back somehow.
So Clemson 2-1 odds, followed by Alabama at 4-1, LSU at 9-2, Ohio State 7-1, Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Texas, Penn State, and Michigan.
Who's going to play quarterback for them? Is Shea coming back?
I don't know. I don't.
He's been around forever.
Yeah, he's the real JT Barrett here.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like he was a senior, wasn't he?
Was he?
I thought so, but I mean, who knows, honestly.
He is leaving. Thank God.
So he is okay.
Bad.
So he is leaving.
Well, looking at 2020 Heisman Trophy odds.
Oh,
Justin Fields.
Fair.
Is number 1 plus 250. Trevor Lawrence plus 300. Mac Jones plus 800. And number 4, Bo Nix plus 900. Now, this isn't very updated because Jake Fromm's still on here.
Oh, I was about to say.
But,
really?
But Spencer Rattler, is it Keaton Slovis is up there. Sam Ellinger. Sam Howell, he's a sleeper. I know a lot of people are going to be going on him. But
Sam Howell, that kid's legit.
Unfortunately for Auburn, they have to play him the second game of the season.
Timeout. Let me back up.
These were odds as of December 16th.
December 16th. Even then, I don't mean this in a bad way, but how's Bo Nix on that list?
Yeah, I agree.
I really don't mean that in a bad way. But
because he returns his entire skill position.
Fair.
Arguably, he is the best or second best returning quarterback in the SEC.
Fair.
I think that's about it. I mean,
SEC Freshman of the Year. I mean, I get all those accolades. It's just when you say Justin Fields and then 2 players later, I heard Bo Nix. It just like it didn't compute in my head correctly.
Do we really think that? I want to talk about Mac Jones. Do we really think he's even going to play the full season? I don't. I think he starts 4 games and then Bryce Young comes in.
Oh yeah. I mean, unless it gets proven otherwise, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to the Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant situation. I think. Except Mac Jones hasn't won a national championship and been
Mac
starter
Jones
for
is
several
a
years.
career backup as well.
Exactly.
Much like Sam Howell, I love that kid out at BYU. Babyface Zach Wilson. Look at him. He looks like a child. That kid competes his butt off every time he plays. He single-handedly kept them in the game with Utah.
Is he really that baby face?
Wait, yes.
Wait, what's his name again? I gotta go look.
Zach Wilson.
Oh lordy.
He has the most baby face of any quarterback in all of probably football. But he is a beast.
Look at this picture of him sitting down.
Oh my goodness gracious.
We need another fun year from BYU next year. Who do they play? Let's see.
Hopefully Tennessee at Tennessee again.
We could only be so lucky.
You know, on those Heisman odds, where
they always play Utah.
Was Chuber
Chuber?
I'm sorry. Is Chuba Hubbard on there?
That's his hashtag for the Heisman voting.
Chuber.
I'm guessing that
is Chuba on there?
they didn't have him on there because they assumed he was gone.
Okay, I just want to see where he was at. Chuber.
BYU plays Minnesota next year.
They're independent. They play at Arizona State. They play at Minnesota. Yeah, you said that. Missouri at home. Houston at home, but no Derek King.
Missouri's going back west?
Yeah, bad idea.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Who's going to play quarterback for them?
They're going to have to let him transfer.
I don't know.
And it won't be as good as Kelly Bryant.
Who was their backup?
The kid who couldn't complete a pass against Georgia in that weird stretch of time that Georgia played only backup quarterbacks. Even if you count Kyle Trask, which you technically have to, they played 8 backup quarterbacks in their first 9 games. That's not exactly true. I think it was 6 in my first 8 games.
That's still something. Yeah, I don't know who's playing quarterback from Missouri. Honestly, if it wasn't for Arkansas, Missouri probably end up being the worst team in the SEC.
Probably
because I don't know what that program has going for it. Every time I feel like they're about to be something, they ain't.
The other quarterbacks on their roster are Connor Bazelak, he's a freshman, Taylor Powell, a sophomore, Sean Robinson, a junior, and Lindsey Scott Jr., a junior.
Oh, that's good for him.
I don't know who the backup is technically, but that's just who's on the roster.
Guys, I'm tired.
I still want to figure out who the heck our punter is going to be.
I was about to say,
on the other side of the break.
Because second on the depth chart is Heisman contender Bo Nix.
Well, because
he's the most experienced punter on the team, honestly.
The kid who was the backup punter quit the team the day after Sipos announced that he was going in the draft.
Lord.
Wait, why?
I'm pretty sure that
he just got a job.
I'm pretty sure that Auburn is probably looking in Australia again, and the Troy punter's in the transfer portal, unless he already decided he's going somewhere else. But
he was their kicker punter.
I
like him though,
and he was good. He averaged over 40 yards per punt.
41.7 yards a punt.
So
which I'll take.
Especially because he was both the kicker and punter.
Although if you want to go find me
another Aussie,
an Australian dude that can bomb it about 50 yards, I mean, I'm not gonna complain.
Oh no, we gotta find somebody other than Bo Nix. Can't keep doing that. Gotta find somebody.
Get Lynn Bowden. He was the punter in high school.
Let's just become that.
Yeah.
Let's just.
Did you not see that crazy play he had?
What position does Lynn Bowden not play? Head coach?
Probably plays that too in high school.
Lynn Bowden. Hey, I mean,
he had a 96
talk about a season that was unbelievable. Leader in rushing yards, passing yards, receiving yards, punt return yards, and kick return yards.
He's a real Heisman winner.
God, he could have been passing yards, but oh well.
I think he was passing yards.
He had 100 less yards than Sawyer Smith, I think.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
Screw that. Well, it's because they only threw it 3 times a game when he got in.
He would have had to spread the ball out so much because he only had 100 more yards than the next leading receiver, so he had to spread it out perfectly.
The most nut stat in the year was 5 games into the time he was playing quarterback, he was still 6th in the SEC in target share for his team because he still had 27% of Kentucky's targets for the season.
Did he ever complete a pass to himself?
I don't think so.
Okay, he didn't get it batted down back in his face.
Mac Jones did. Maybe that's why he's up there in the Heisman.
Let's head to our next commercial break, and when we come back, We'll wrap up the show here on the Extra Point on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
But you never have made, never have asked for a normal life. It's crime, too busy earning. You can't get enough.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Century, doing something mean to it, do it better than anybody you ever seen.
Welcome back into the Extra Point. Final segment of the show. What are we going to do? What are we going to do without a punter on Auburn's football team until we inevitably sign one on signing day, I guess? Who knows? He might show up in the summer. Especially if he's
I just
Aussie.
don't know where we're finding all this room to sign extra people in this class because, like, a month ago,
I'm gonna flip like 4 guys.
It was like hard cap at 25, and now it's like Auburn could sign 27, 28.
I mean,
who knows?
I guess with Igbenogany going pro, maybe that's one spot.
Yeah, but the if you're gonna act like the hard cap at 25.
Yeah.
That means that there's no wiggle room there. You lose Sipos, you lose Igbenogany.
I don't think there's.
You're probably gonna lose
a running back.
I think a back is leaving in the transfer portal.
I mean,
I think I have an idea of who it is.
Who would you guess?
I think Shivers is considering it.
That's unfortunate because of the way we saw Clyde Edwards-Helaire being used. You could use Sean Shivers in the same way, I think.
I don't think he's big enough. He's not big enough.
Really?
I mean,
was
Edwards-Helaire
like
is
205?
5'10", 205, maybe 5'9", 205, and Shivers is
like
5'6", 180.
Yeah.
Things I do want to see. I think Harold Joyner's got to move to receiver. I think he does.
They tried it. Did Devin Barrett move the receiver before he moved to cornerback?
I think
they use him more as a receiver, kind of like Harold Joyner.
I think Harold Joyner, because I think a big thing this next year is going to be establishing somebody opposite Seth Williams. and I think Joyner could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he clearly has struggled running the ball when it comes to holding onto the ball, much like Booby. And I really think that he's a guy that at 6'4", 215.
Hard cover.
Yeah, I mean, throw him opposite Seth, and then all of a sudden you've got a couple of 6'3", 6'4" guys, and you kind of resemble that Clemson look where you've got height on the outside and guys that can go be physical and attack the ball. Now the O-line that's going to be the interesting one because I don't know what the O-line is going to look like.
I feel like you need to flip Broderick Jones.
Brod Jones needs. Oh gosh. Well, with your new O-line coach, who Auburn got yesterday,
There's potential.
Jack Bicknell Jr., son of Boston College coach Jack Bicknell.
Snapped the ball to Doug Flutie on the Hail Mary.
Does have some NFL experience. Apparently is a really good recruiter. You need him. You need him to come in, build that relationship with Brod Jones quickly, and see if you can reel him in because that just gives you another option. And I think Brod Jones he's definitely going to be one of your tackles of the future. But this next year's O-line, it may not have the experience of this year's O-line, but I think they might be meaner.
I think the fresh faces will help out instead of just having the guys that you had for the second straight year that they struggled the year before, and I wouldn't say they really improved. I think they were pretty flatlined from 2018 to 2019. Maybe the pass blocking has improved, but that's about it.
With this group that played this past year, with the exception of Marquel Harrell, I'm not sure how mean the group of Prince Tega, Caleb Kim, and Mike Horton are. I think Jack Driscoll was honestly just a little bit limited by his athleticism.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was everything you could have asked him to be as a grad transfer from one of the bottom three programs in all of college football in UMass. And he fought through injuries and was kind of a steadying force on the O-line. But I think this next year's group has the potential to be a lot meaner when you've got guys like Tayshawn Manning, Alec Jackson, Berdarius Hams. I think Nick Brahms is a good bit more physical in the run game than Caleb Kim is.
It also feels like if he gets a whole spring and summer as the assumed starter, it feels like if he's not going to be battling for that starting position, he might be able to take the next step. I mean, I kind of feel that way just because it seemed like he got better as time went on when he was playing. So it feels like if he can practice consistently at that first team, I imagine he'll get better.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then if you could figure that out and you can have somebody step up opposite Seth Williams, I think a guy to watch is going to be Kobe Hudson. I think Kobe Hudson is going to be, I think him being here in January, going through spring practice, you watch his high school film, unbelievable shiftiness and speed. I think he has a chance to come in and be a guy, like right off the bat. And if you can get that, and whether you move Joyner out there or you have one of the guys that's already on campus step up, or if you get Elijah Canyon, a big 6'4" receiver in his own right, step up, and you can form a more well-rounded receiving core where you're not having to rely on Seth Williams to make every big play in the passing game, then this offense can go to a different level.
Yeah, how do you think like the focus on speed, like you see with the new guys coming in and people like Harold Joyner, is going to play in with this new Chad Morris offense that's supposedly coming in?
Well, I think you're seeing there's definitely becoming an emphasis on tight ends as Auburn signed J.J. Pegues to the tight ends room, and then you're going after another tight end. I think you're going to utilize the middle of the field more.
You got 2 tight ends already there.
I mean, with the
deal, Tyler Fromm.
And Samuel Schinker.
Yeah.
With the addition
Who's
of
now playing baseball.
It's competing for the first base spot.
With the addition of tight ends, you really want to look at between the hashes passing game, and that's something that Auburn has really lacked in the whole Malzahn era.
It seems like when they tried it this year, it worked.
Georgia second half.
Yes.
When you look at this receivers class that's coming in, it's clear that Auburn really wanted to go get more size. I mean, you've got 6'1", 6'3", 6'3 and a half, and 6'4". I mean, it's a big, big group. And so I think they're trying to find another Seth Williams type. And then you're going to have guys like, I mean, the skill set's there. Matthew Hill, Javarius Johnson. You have these smaller, speedier guys that there is a place for them in the offense, but they've got to go out and prove it. And I think Kobe Hudson's going to have just as good of a shot as any of those guys to take that spot because Matthew Hill clearly hasn't seized it because we've sat here for the past few years sitting there thinking, oh, this guy could be Ryan Davis. He's got the same skill set as Ryan Davis, but he hasn't seized it. Javarius Johnson obviously had to redshirt because of an injury. So, I mean, he's probably not as far along as he would like to be. And Kobe Hudson's here now in January. I mean, he's got a shot if he comes in and does what I think he could. He could be that guy to step up in the slot. And then also, if you can have a 1, a solid 2, and then a good slot guy. I mean, when was the last time we saw that out of Auburn?
It feels like Auburn's been playing. They haven't had a go-to guy for an entire year at any of those positions. I mean, I guess Seth Williams was the guy this year at number 1, but outside of that, you didn't really have the go-to guy at number 2 or in the slot.
I mean, it's if you can have somebody else step up, it's going to lessen the pressure on Seth Williams.
Yeah.
And this year, it wasn't helped by the fact that you had Anthony Schwartz open the season with an injury, and he almost couldn't catch a ball until week 4 because he was in like a cast. And then he dealt with some nagging injuries and stuff, and at times didn't seem to have that last little bit of burst of speed that we've seen. But so I think it allowed teams to focus more on Seth Williams. Having somebody else step up, then I think we could see Seth Williams go post 1,000-yard year and post some really, really high numbers. If you can have somebody across the way who's picking up 600, 700, 800 yards in his own right, and then a slot guy who's contributing as well.
Well, signing day, spring football, it'll all be around the corner, but it's college basketball time.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
Before we get out of here, a stat that has come across my feed this morning is that Detroit set a record for most losses by a team, by a city's sports teams last year with 226. The Tigers, Pistons, Lions, and Red Wings all combined to lose 226 games across all of 2019, averaging 0.62 losses per day for Detroit fans. So it could always be worse.
The Lions were probably the best team out of those 4 over the last year.
The 3-12
What do you mean?
1. The 3-12 Lions.
The Pistons made the playoffs.
The Pistons are 500 right now.
Okay, Pistons.
But they did just lose Blake Griffin for the season. But the Pistons made the playoffs. What do you mean?
Yeah, I guess it had to be the Pistons.
They let Lonzo Ball embarrass them. So
the Pistons is just one of those things where, yeah, they made the playoffs, but
if you're not top 2 in the East, you might as well not exist.
Pretty much. Well, it's past 9 o'clock. We got to go. We'll be back 7 o'clock tomorrow here on the Extra Point. We'll see you later.
Back. Basketball game tomorrow.
Yes. We'll be previewing Auburn at Alabama. Hopefully Auburn can keep up the undefeated streak and be 16-0. We will see you tomorrow.
That does it for the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM and Eagle Eye TV. Want to watch more? Catch replays of the Extra Point on Eagle Eye TV by going to eagleeyeauburn.com. You can also go to WEGL 91.1 FM YouTube page for full replay. Want to listen more? We have you covered. Tune in to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud and search WEGL 91.1 FM for more of the Extra Point and other sports content. Stay up to date with the latest news and sports by visiting WEGLFM.com. The Extra Point, bringing you the X's and O's from around the plains of Auburn and around the world of sports. Auburn's best sports talk radio show, Auburn's only sports talk TV show. Watch and listen live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
So alive, I felt like